So there does appear to be an interesting development here, which is that the Vice President of the United States, soon to be not Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence, has basically turned on Donald Trump. So what's going on is, and this is really embarrassing, Louie Gohmert, who is a Republican from Texas, he's a Republican House representative, he's filed a lawsuit against Mike Pence. And so basically, you guys know the 12th Amendment of the Constitution established the Electoral College. Prior to that, it used to be different. It was like the second highest vote getter was vice president, but they ended up changing the system with the 12th Amendment. And basically, it's the vice president oversees the counting, like reads out the Electoral College votes and all that stuff. It's a little bit of a complicated system. But basically, what Louie Gohmert is trying to say is there's a law that was passed back in like 1887, I believe it is, like the Electoral Counting Act or something like that. And he's arguing that that is unconstitutional according to the 12th Amendment of the United States. And he wants the vice president to have unilateral power to basically say, I'm not going to count these electoral votes, I'm going to count these instead. So pretty much the vice president gets to pick the president of the United States. That's basically what it is. Incredibly corrupt, incredibly insane, unbelievably preposterous. Could you imagine that? Seriously, the vice president of the United States, when we have people who are VPs who are running for president themselves, remember Al Gore was VP, he ran, he had to read out the electoral votes and shut down basically any of the objections to the vote of George W. Bush winning and him losing. It's absolutely batshit crazy. It's unbelievable. You're seriously talking about the vice president effectively gets to choose who the president is. And so that act kind of made it so that Congress would have to basically object, and it made it really hard for them to object as well, to make sure that one person like a vice president can't just make determinations like this. And so they were filing this, but Mike Pence did not agree with Louie Gohmert and them. So basically what that means is he doesn't agree with this maneuver. He does not agree with basically him single-handedly, unanimously overturning the election. So he's kind of turned on Trump as well. And so I hope it's not forgotten with how embarrassing this attempt at overturning the election has been. Like, you're talking about, it's December 30th, okay? And Republicans are still filing lawsuits to try to overturn this election. And it cannot be overstated how embarrassing this is and how this really should be remembered for, time, as time goes on. This should be remembered. It's unbelievable, truly remarkable that they're somehow still holding on to this nonsense. It's unbelievable. But Mike Pence is disagreeing. He's basically indicating, no, I'm not going to do this. Trump seems to be upset with this. And a lot of this seems to be Trump has a lot of support, a lot of fans in the Republican Party. And so these House representatives, they're worried about backlash with not adequately supporting Trump or opposing him. So basically they just kind of do whatever Trump wants. They're basically his pawns. They do whatever he wants because they're afraid of backlash from their constituency. So that's essentially what's going on here. But luckily, Mike Pence does not agree in terms of I have the power. It's a frivolous lawsuit similar to all the other frivolous lawsuits that have been filed by Trump's lawyers, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, these people filing a bunch of frivolous lawsuits who hopefully will be reprimanded and punished for filing these frivolous lawsuits because judicial resources are indeed limited and you're not supposed to file frivolous lawsuits with zero grounds whatsoever. This is one of the most batshit crazy cases I've ever heard in my entire life. It's a lawsuit basically arguing the vice president can determine the presidency. That's what it is, seriously. Unbelievable. Truly never heard of something this crazy in my life. But luckily Pence is saying, no, I'm not going to do that.